Hi guys, my name is Sandy. I'm a homeschooling mom to two boys. This year I have a third grader and I have a fifth grader, and I'm going to be showing you guys the story of the world. I'm going to do my review for Story of the World out here by our pool. It's springtime and the weather's warming up, and we have been having most of our lessons out here at the table by our pool. And my kids have been dying to use the pool, but it's not quite warm enough for it yet. So first I'm going to go over a typical lesson in the Story of the World, from reading the book to the activity booklet that comes with it. And then after that I'm going to go over what the pros and cons are on it for our family. I'm going to be going over chapter 4. So how we use it is we read an entire chapter at nighttime before bed, and we'll read 1 to 2 chapters a week. And this chapter 4 is on the Byzantine Empire. I find it really easy to read an entire chapter before we go to bed at night. And that's one chapter, so it's pretty short. I have purchased both books brand new. The price on these was so low, and it's such a good value for the money that I was able to get it new instead of used. And after I read the chapter at nighttime before bed in the main book, the next day we'll do an activity from the activity book. And here's the chapter 4 section. You've got the encyclopedia cross-reference, and there's a lot of review questions for each section in the chapter. There's no narration exercise. There's more review questions here. More review questions. There's plenty to ask your kids. Narration exercise, review questions, additional history reading, and corresponding literature selections. There's a lot to pick from. And as far as the activities, there's a lot of activities and projects to pick from too. There's 1, 2, there's another one, 3, there's a 4th activity, there's a 5th one, and there's another one. So there's plenty for your kids to pick from. And we'll do like maybe 2 activities a week in here. And the map work. I always do the map work with my kids, and that's one of my favorite parts of everything, of the whole curriculum, is the map work. And now I'm going to show you the activities for that week. All the activities that my kids complete, if it's a paper activity, I'll put it in the folder I made for them. And this is the map work that we've done from that week. And their paper doll activity, I turn them into stick puppets. Since I do have boys and they really don't want paper doll, but I still want to show them how people had dressed and lived back then. And I'll show you a few more activities that we've done. Here's some more map work. Korea, China, and Japan. And here's a Japanese coloring page. Here's some more map work. And this illumination pattern I got as an activity. I had my kids paint it. Here's map work from the Gupta Empire. And here is a sword that they made for that. Barbarians come to Britain. This is for the Celts. And I'm going to show you some of the activities that I've added in on my own. They're not in their curriculum or their activity book. This is the Dover coloring that we've done. For the ancient Celts, I had the kids make bookmarks. And they did a Dover coloring page also for the Celts. And they did more stick puppets. We've got one for India, and this is for the Vikings. And these stick puppets have come from a web page where they have lots and lots of paper dolls you can turn into stick puppets, and they're all free. And it's from Practical Pages, and they have all sorts of different historical time periods. For chapter 10, the bottom of the world. It went over Australia and New Zealand. And I'm going to add a little clip of the activity that we did for this chapter. We did the Maori face painting.
Hey guys, today I'm following the face paints of a Maori warrior. So I'm adding a little brown before I start a face paint. Look! Mom, can I color my Maori warrior face painting? My mommy painted my face like a Maori warrior.
I'm going to flip through the back part of the activity book a little bit more so you can see some of the other activities that are included in here. There's a lot of coloring pages for the younger kids. There's games, there's lots of maps. And I do recommend getting some cardstock when you print some of these up. And I think I almost like the activity book more than I liked the main book. And I'll show you how I have the activities planned out. I have it in a binder. And at the beginning of the curriculum, I went ahead and printed everything that we were going to need. And I did 2 copies of pretty much everything, so I can just pull it out when we get to that lesson. It's already copied. And we're in the Vikings right now, and we're going to be doing the Viking longboat. This activity did come from the Story of the World activity book. And in addition to this, I'll show you a few of the books that we have that I'm reading with my kids. We have another interactive history adventure, The Middle Ages, and my kids are loving this book. They've been begging me to read more to them. It's the You Choose Your Own History Adventure. Another one I'm going to read is Robin Hood. Knights and Castles from Lego, A Medieval Feast, The Quest for Camelot. I don't think this one has too much historical value, but my kids really enjoyed it. The DK Knights. We've got the Eastbourne Time Travelers books, Viking and Knights and Castles. So I believe this is the Viking section. And I think the Knights and Castles, yeah, they're in the front. Knights and Castles is the first section. I've also got The Making of a Knight. And a Hero's Guide to Warriors. Here's for the Knights. And Turn of the Century. It shows how the world changes every 100 years. And I did read St. George and the Dragon. I cannot find that book anywhere. Now, to go with the good and bad about the Story of the World, I loved the map work. I just found it really good. It was simple enough for my kids to not complain about doing it. The one thing I wish that would have been different with the map work is I wish the directions for the maps would have been directly on the map and not in a separate page in the book. And I also really liked the activities and that there's such a big variety of activities. The only downside is a lot of the activities were for younger children. I've got 3rd grade and 5th grade, and my 5th grader was just getting kind of bored with some of the activities. I also really liked the large amount of questions to ask your children after you're done reading from this book here. But the one thing I wish is that the questions would have been directly in the main book, so I wouldn't have to pull out this activity book separately and ask them the questions another day. So one other thing that is not working out too well with us, or just for our family, is that the chapters jump around from one place in the world to another. And I think it would be a lot easier to concentrate on one spot in the world and then to move on to another spot. Like, for instance, the first few chapters are for European history, and then after that it moves on to the Indian Empire. The next chapter, the rise of Islam, which is also Middle East chapter again, and then it goes into the China and Japan, and then it goes into Australia, and then there's another chapter after that in European history, another chapter on the Middle Eastern history, and another one on European history, so it jumps around a little bit too much for us. It would have been easier if everything had been grouped together differently, just for our family. I'm sure for other families this probably works really well for them. We have been using this for over 3 months right now, and I don't think I'm going to be continuing to use it in the way it's all set up. Nothing seems to be sticking with my kids. I don't know why. We read the chapter in the main book, and then the next day I'll go into this activity book and ask them the questions, and they just seem not to remember anything at all. And we did the illumination pattern activity. Let's see if I can find it here. We did this illumination pattern activity after we studied the monks at the beginning, and I stuck this on the refrigerator. My mother-in-law asked me, oh, what did the kids learn? She asked the kids directly, oh, what did you learn? And neither one could answer her. So for some reason, nothing is sticking. And the other thing that's not working for us is it's trying to cover so many different topics so quickly that I feel like we're not able to cover stuff in depth enough. Another reason why we're not going to continue it is because I feel like this would work a lot better for maybe a kindergartner to a 3rd grader. My 5th grader just seems to be getting a little bit bored with it. Like, a lot of the activities are geared more towards younger children, and I feel like there's just not enough reading in here. Without the supplemental reading I'm doing over here, I feel like my kids really wouldn't be learning much at all, and I feel like they're almost getting more. Like, I feel like they got more out of this book, just reading that short little book that they have from everything we've read in here so far. But I am enjoying the stories in here. I really like the story about the monks who lived in the cave. I'd never known that before. I feel like this curriculum is probably better for your first pass around in history when your kids are younger. This is our one and only pass. I pulled my kids out of public school, and this is probably our only pass that we're going to do with this time period before my oldest gets to high school, and I kind of just wanted to go over different things more in depth with him. So from here on out, we're going to be using the Easy Peasy history as our spine, and I will be doing a few activities from this activity book still, and I will be doing some of the map work, and I'm probably going to read maybe 2 or 3 more chapters in here, because I do enjoy reading this. I just feel like it's not sticking for some reason with my kids. And that is my review. I hope it was helpful. Bye!